The Power Within by Michael J. Westwood. Introduction. There is a force resting inside every human being, untapped, immense, and waiting. It does not shout or demand attention, but it whispers with relentless consistency. This force is your inner power. Unlike external sources of strength, which fade with time or circumstances, the power within you grows stronger the more you listen to it, trust it, and live by it. In a world obsessed with quick solutions and surface-level validation, many overlook the most potent source of transformation, themselves. From the moment we are born, society begins to mold our identity. Labels are placed on us, expectations are set, and slowly, layer by layer, we learn to doubt the very instincts we were born with. The quiet curiosity, the bold imagination, the fearless energy, all slowly dim under the weight of conformity. But that original fire never truly goes out. It just waits for a spark, a moment of truth, a choice to awaken. The purpose of this book is not to give you something you lack, but to help you remember what you already have. You were born with strength, with courage, with the capacity to create, love, lead, and endure. Somewhere along the path, you may have lost your belief in these truths, but the truths themselves never changed. This journey is about removing the mental fog that clouds your vision, unlocking the chains of self-doubt, and standing tall in the realization that you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. The world often tells us that strength lies in dominance, in control, in showing no weakness. But the deepest strength comes from vulnerability, from being honest with yourself, from daring to try again when you failed, and from rising each morning with a heart that refuses to quit. Real power is quiet. It's not about overpowering others, but about mastering yourself. And that journey of self-mastery begins with a decision, to turn inward, to listen, and to act. You may have been through storms, loss, disappointment, betrayal, fear, but you're still standing. That in itself is evidence of your resilience. Every challenge you've faced, every hardship you've endured, has shaped your character and sharpened your insight. It is through adversity that the strongest versions of ourselves emerge. The broken pieces, when embraced with grace, become the most powerful parts of our story. This book is a guide to reclaim that story, to help you see not only what is possible, but what is already within your reach. Through these chapters, you'll walk through mental, emotional, and spiritual doors that will shift your perspective and ignite action. Each page is an invitation to dig deeper, to dream bigger, and to live more boldly. Not because the world gives you permission, but because you finally choose to. Power, in its truest form, is peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will no longer tolerate. It's the ability to respond instead of react, to stay grounded in storms and humble in success, to rise above noise and find clarity in chaos. It is a state of being that no one can grant you and no one can take away. The power within you is not a myth or a motivational slogan. It's real, it's raw, and it's ready. This is your time, not to become someone else, but to return to yourself, to rise relentlessly, to lead authentically, to live powerfully. Welcome to the Power Within. Let the journey begin. Chapter 1: Awakening the Inner Giant. There is a moment in every life when the soul stirs, the mind questions, and the heart whispers, "There is more to you than this." That moment, though often silent, is the beginning of awakening, the first tremor before a personal revolution. And it doesn't require a perfect setting or a grand stage. Sometimes it happens in the middle of failure, in the grip of anxiety, or while staring at the ceiling in the dead of night. But whenever it happens, it changes everything. Because once the inner giant begins to stir, it can never truly go back to sleep. For too long, many of us walk through life disconnected from our own power. We follow routines, obey rules, meet expectations, and perform roles that others handed to us. We wear masks, we say yes when we mean no, and we shrink ourselves to fit into spaces never designed for our greatness. Why? Because we were conditioned to believe that being small was safe, that being invisible was easier, and that being accepted was better than being authentic. But the inner giant knows better. It knows that real safety lies in self-trust, that ease is the enemy of evolution, and that authenticity is where your true power lives. The giant within you is not arrogant or aggressive. It is aware, confident, and compassionate. It remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. It speaks through your dreams, your passions, and your longing for something more. And it waits patiently for the day you choose to listen. Awakening this giant doesn't require a miracle. It requires a decision to stop playing small, a decision to stop running from discomfort, a decision to own your life instead of drifting through it. It's not about changing who you are, it's about revealing who you've always been beneath the doubt, the fear, and the noise. One of the most common reasons people stay asleep to their power is because they believe they are not enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. But this belief is not truth. It is programming. It was installed by parents, teachers, media, society, often unintentionally, but powerfully. And if a belief can be learned, it can also be unlearned. The first act of awakening is to challenge that belief and replace it with a new truth. You are enough. You have always been enough. To awaken the inner giant, begin by reconnecting with your voice. Not the voice that pleases others or echoes fear, but the voice that comes from your core, the one that speaks in intuition, clarity, and courage. Spend time in solitude. Reflect. Journal. Meditate. Ask yourself the deep questions. Who am I beneath the roles I play? What do I truly want? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? The answers may not come immediately, but the asking itself begins the awakening. Surround yourself with people and environments that honor growth. Read books that challenge your thinking. Consume content that inspires rather than numbs. Protect your energy like a sacred flame, because the world will try to extinguish it with doubt, distraction, and discouragement. But the more you guard it, the stronger it will burn. Most of all, take action. Even small steps matter. Every time you speak your truth, set a boundary, pursue a passion, or show up for yourself, you feed the giant within. You remind it that it is safe to emerge, that it is welcome in your life, and that you are ready for the greatness you were born for. The inner giant has waited long enough. This is the beginning of your awakening. It's time to stop sleepwalking through life and start living with purpose, passion, and power. The path ahead won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. Because nothing compares to the freedom and fire of a life lived fully awake. Chapter 2. The Seed of Self-Belief. Every towering tree begins as a single seed. Buried beneath the soil, unseen by the world, it holds within it the blueprint of something mighty. But for that potential to rise, it needs nurturing. The same is true for self-belief. It starts small, an idea, a hope, a flicker of possibility. But when watered with courage and sunlighted by action, it becomes the root of everything extraordinary. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not loud or boastful. True self-belief is quiet confidence, a knowing that no matter the obstacles, you will find a way. It's the ability to look within and say, I may not have all the answers yet, but I trust myself to figure them out. This belief does not come from perfection or privilege. It is earned one small decision at a time by showing up and proving to yourself that you are capable. For many, self-belief is buried under layers of failure, criticism, or comparison. Somewhere along the path, someone told you that you weren't good enough, Maybe it was a teacher, a parent, a stranger, or maybe it was your own inner voice, shaped by years of fear and rejection. These voices become weeds in the garden of belief, choking your growth before you even begin. But here's the truth. No one can plant your belief for you, and no one can destroy it unless you allow them. The first step in cultivating self-belief is to take ownership of your inner dialogue. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself. Are your words kind or cruel? Encouraging or diminishing? Would you speak to someone you love the way you speak to yourself? Most people live with a silent bully inside their heads, constantly judging, blaming, and doubting. But you have the power to silence that voice and replace it with one that supports your rise. Affirmations may seem simple, but they are powerful tools. When used consistently, they rewire the mind and shape new patterns of thinking. Say to yourself daily, I am capable, I am enough, I am becoming stronger every day. Even if you don't believe it at first, speak it anyway. Belief is not built overnight. It is layered through repetition, experience, and evidence. The more you act in alignment with your worth, the more that worth becomes undeniable. Self-belief also grows in discomfort. It's easy to feel confident when things are going well. But the real test and growth happens when you face challenges. Each time you move forward despite fear, each time you rise after falling, you strengthen your inner root system. You prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. You shift from wishing for strength to becoming strong. Surrounding yourself with supportive energy is also key. Be mindful of the people you spend time with. Are they watering your belief or poisoning it? True friends see your potential and speak life into your vision. They challenge you to grow, not shrink. And when you can't believe in yourself, they hold the mirror until you can see who you really are again. Ultimately, self-belief is not about certainty, it's about trust. Trusting that you can begin even before you are ready, that you can learn along the way, and that you can build momentum through effort. It's about making a choice each day to back yourself even when the world doesn't. Because the world reflects what you project. When you believe in yourself, opportunities open, people respond, and doors appear where there were once only walls. Plant the seed of belief today. Water it with discipline. Feed it with faith. Let it grow in the direction of your dreams. Because the strongest force in the universe is not talent, luck, or timing. It's the unwavering belief that you can rise no matter what. Chapter 3. Breaking Mental Barriers. The most powerful prisons are not made of steel and concrete. They are built in the mind, formed by fear, doubt, and the invisible chains of belief systems we never chose but somehow inherited. These mental barriers often go unnoticed, yet they dictate our actions, limit our dreams, and confine us to lives far smaller than we are meant to live. To unleash the power within, we must first break free from the walls we cannot see. Every person carries within them a set of mental stories, narratives about who they are, what they can achieve, and where they belong in the world. Some of these stories are empowering, but many are disempowering. They whisper things like, "You're not smart enough," "People like you don't succeed," or "It's too late for you." These are not truths, they are mental barriers, and unless you identify and confront them, they will quietly sabotage every step you take toward growth. Mental barriers are often born in childhood. A single moment of embarrassment, a critical parent, a failed test, or being told no too many times. These experiences leave impressions that form internal limitations. Over time, these moments turn into beliefs, and those beliefs shape behavior. You may stop trying, not because you lack potential, but because your mind has convinced you that you are not capable. The truth is, your limits are more imagined than real. Breaking these barriers begins with awareness. Start noticing your thought patterns, especially the ones that show up when you're about to step outside your comfort zone. Do you hear a voice telling you to play it safe? Do you find yourself making excuses to avoid trying? Do you sabotage your progress the moment success feels near? These are signs of mental walls standing in your way. But what is built by thought can also be destroyed by thought. Challenge your limiting beliefs with truth. When a thought arises that says, "I can't do this," respond with, "Why not?" Ask yourself where the thought came from and whether it's backed by real evidence or just fear. More often than not, you'll discover that these beliefs have no foundation. They are ghosts, memories masquerading as facts. Replace them with empowering truths. I can learn. I have overcome before. I am stronger than I think. One of the most effective ways to break mental barriers is through action. Fear and limitation thrive in inaction, but they dissolve when confronted. Do the thing you're scared of. Speak up. Apply for the opportunity. Share your idea. Take the leap, even if your voice shakes. You do not need to feel confident before acting. Action creates confidence. Each time you push past a barrier, you prove to yourself that it was never real in the first place. It's also important to understand that growth requires discomfort. Mental barriers often disguise themselves as comfort zones. They keep you safe, but also stuck. The key is to redefine discomfort as a sign of expansion, not danger. When your mind says, "This feels hard," reframe it as, "This is where I grow." Because every person who has achieved greatness had to first wrestle with their own inner limitations and rise above them. Support plays a role too. Speak to people who have walked the path you fear. Listen to their stories. You'll find that they too had doubts. They too were once beginners. Knowing that others have broken through can inspire you to do the same. Their victories can become your evidence that barriers are meant to be broken. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your strongest enemy, but it's yours to train, reshape, and lead. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And that awareness has the power to choose differently, to build new beliefs, and to live without limits. The walls in your mind are not fixed. They are waiting to be torn down. So swing the hammer, push through, rise beyond. The power within you is stronger than any barrier that tries to stand in your way. Chapter 4: The Fire of Purpose. There is a kind of fire that doesn't burn skin, but ignites the soul. It fuels long nights of effort, carries you through seasons of struggle, and whispers, "Keep going," when everything else says stop. That fire is called purpose. It is not simply a goal or a dream. It is the reason you rise in the morning with meaning in your chest. Purpose is the invisible force behind the world's most inspired lives. And it already lives inside you, waiting to be discovered, claimed, and lived. Many people drift through life without a clear sense of direction. They go where others go, do what's expected, and wonder why they feel hollow even when things appear fine on the outside. It's not a lack of success that leaves them empty, it's the absence of purpose. Because success without purpose is like running on a treadmill, lots of motion, but no real progress. Purpose doesn't always arrive in a flash of clarity. For most, it starts as a quiet question. Is this all there is? That question is sacred. It is the soul knocking on the door, urging you to go deeper. To awaken your purpose, you must be willing to listen. Not to the noise of the world, but to the whispers within, the passions that stir you, the injustices that enrage you, the curiosities that pull at your heart. Purpose is not found by asking, "What should I do with my life?" but by asking, "What moves me? What do I feel born to contribute? What could I spend a lifetime learning, creating, or healing?" These questions point you inward, toward your unique calling. And the truth is, your purpose doesn't need to be grand or world-changing to be meaningful. It only needs to be true. The fire of purpose transforms everything it touches. When you are aligned with your purpose, you no longer need to be pushed. You are pulled. Motivation becomes natural. energy becomes abundant. Challenges still arise, but you face them with a clarity and resilience that others struggle to understand. Because purpose doesn't just give you direction, it gives you strength. If you feel disconnected from your purpose, begin by looking back. What did you love as a child before the world told you what was realistic? What problems are you drawn to solve? What do people naturally come to you for? These clues are not random. They are the breadcrumbs that lead you home to yourself. Purpose is often hidden in plain sight, woven into your story, your struggles, and your strengths. Once you begin to sense your purpose, honor it with action. Purpose grows stronger when you express it. You don't need to quit your job or change your life overnight. Start small. Write the blog. Volunteer your skills. Teach what you know. Build what you imagine. As you act in alignment with your purpose, the fire within grows brighter, attracting the people, opportunities, and experiences that match your path. Remember, your purpose is not a destination. It is a way of being. It evolves as you evolve. It expands as you grow. What matters is not arriving, but committing to walk the path with intention. To choose growth over comfort. Truth over approval. Passion over passivity. The fire of purpose is your fuel. It gives meaning to your efforts, direction to your journey, and power to your presence. When you live with purpose, even your pain has value. Even your failures become fuel. So dig deep. Ask the real questions. Dare to live for something bigger than your fear. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more people on fire with purpose. Be one of them. Let your light burn bold and bright. Let your life mean something. Let the fire of purpose guide you home. Chapter 5. Mindset Mastery. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world and yourself. It shapes how you interpret events, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately, how your life unfolds. Mastering your mindset is not about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring reality. It is about training your mind to work for you instead of against you. It is the difference between a life controlled by circumstance and a life guided by intention. At the core of mindset mastery is the belief that your thoughts are not fixed. They are flexible, and they can be transformed. Every thought you think carves a path in your brain. The more you walk that path, the easier it becomes to travel. Negative thoughts, when repeated often, become habitual. But the same is true for positive, empowering thoughts. By consciously choosing how you interpret the world, you begin to create a reality that serves your growth instead of your fear. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the idea of the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that talent and intelligence are static. You either have them or you don't. A growth mindset believes that abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. This single distinction makes a world of difference. People with a growth mindset see failure as feedback. They see obstacles as opportunities. They are not afraid to try because they do not fear being imperfect. Mindset mastery begins with awareness. Start listening to your inner dialogue. What do you tell yourself when things go wrong? Do you blame yourself, or do you look for lessons? Do you say, "I'm not good at this"? Or do you say, "I'm not good at this yet"? That one word, "yet," can change everything. It reminds you that growth is always possible, and nothing is final unless you stop trying. Another key to mastering your mindset is learning to reframe. Life will always bring challenges. You can't control every situation, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. Reframing is the practice of looking at the same situation from a different perspective. Instead of saying, "This setback is the end," say, "This is a setup for my next breakthrough." Instead of thinking, "I failed," tell yourself, "I've found one more way that didn't work, and I'm one step closer to the one that will." Mindset is also shaped by what you consume. the books you read, the conversations you engage in, the media you follow, all of it programs your brain in subtle ways. If you surround yourself with negativity, drama, and defeat, your mind will reflect that. But if you surround yourself with inspiration, growth, and solutions, your mind will begin to mirror that too. You become what you feed your mind. Gratitude is another powerful tool in the process of mindset mastery. When you make it a habit to focus on what is good, even in the smallest things, you train your brain to see abundance rather than lack. Gratitude does not deny pain. It simply shifts the focus toward what is still possible. It opens your heart, lifts your spirit, and strengthens your mental resilience. Most importantly, remember that mindset is a daily practice. You don't wake up one day with a perfectly trained mind. It takes consistent effort. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when fear speaks louder, when the old beliefs try to resurface. But with awareness, discipline, and compassion, you can catch yourself and gently bring your mind back to truth. Mindset mastery is not about becoming invincible. It's about becoming intentional. It's about choosing thoughts that empower you, practicing perspectives that elevate you, and building a mental foundation strong enough to carry your dreams. When you master your mindset, you reclaim your power. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start thriving. And that shift, quiet but profound, is what unlocks the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 6: Harnessing Emotional Power. Your emotions are not weaknesses. They are your superpowers. They hold wisdom, energy, and insight far beyond what logic can always explain. Yet many people are taught to fear, suppress, or ignore their emotions, especially the uncomfortable ones. But true strength isn't in emotional silence. It lies in emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and channel your feelings in a way that serves your growth. To unlock the power within, you must learn not to run from your emotions, but to harness them. Emotions are messengers. Anger signals a boundary has been crossed. Sadness points to loss or unhealed wounds. Joy reveals alignment. Fear often shows where growth is needed. Every emotion has a message if you're willing to listen. When you suppress your feelings, you silence the signals meant to guide you. Over time, this disconnection creates confusion, stress, and even physical illness. But when you learn to feel your emotions fully without being consumed by them, you begin to use them as tools for self-awareness and transformation. Emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness, the ability to notice what you're feeling in the moment. Instead of saying "I'm fine" when you're not, pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Name it. Labeling your emotions helps regulate them. Neuroscience shows that naming a feeling shifts brain activity from the emotional centers to the reasoning centers. Saying "I feel anxious" helps reduce the intensity of anxiety. Emotional power begins with recognition. Once you identify what you feel, the next step is to understand why you feel it. What triggered the emotion? What belief, expectation, or past wound did it touch? Many emotional reactions are not about the present moment, but about something unresolved from the past. When you take the time to explore the roots of your emotions, you begin to untangle them. You stop reacting blindly and start responding wisely. Harnessing emotional power also means learning how to express your feelings in a healthy way. Bottled up emotions don't disappear. They build pressure. Eventually, they erupt in ways that hurt you or those around you. But when expressed constructively, through journaling, speaking honestly, setting boundaries, or creative outlets, your emotions become allies, not enemies. They become the fire that fuels healing, connection, and creativity. Equally important is the ability to manage your emotional energy. Not every emotion deserves the same level of attention. Some feelings are passing clouds, others are storms you must weather. Emotional maturity means learning the difference. It means not getting swept away by every mood, but instead staying anchored in awareness. Breathing techniques, mindfulness, and grounding exercises help bring your emotional state back into balance. Another key element of emotional power is empathy, not just for others, but for yourself. So often we judge our emotions. We call them bad or weak. We try to hide them behind forced positivity. But there is no shame in feeling. Emotions are what make us human. They are what connect us, heal us, and move us toward our highest self. Self-compassion means giving yourself permission to feel without judgment. To say, "It's okay to be here. I won't stay forever, but I'll honor what this moment is teaching me." As you strengthen your emotional intelligence, you also become a better leader, partner, friend, and creator. You gain the ability to navigate conflict with grace, to inspire trust, and to connect with others on a deeper level. People are drawn to those who are emotionally grounded, not because they never feel pain, but because they know how to move through it with wisdom. Your emotions are not obstacles on the path. They are the path. They are the raw materials of your personal power. When you learn to listen to them, learn from them, and lead with them, you no longer fear your feelings. You embrace them. And that embrace becomes your fuel. Harness your emotional power, and you begin to walk through life with depth, courage, and an unshakable sense of who you are. Chapter 7. Discipline equals freedom. It may seem like a contradiction. How can discipline, often seen as restriction, lead to freedom, the essence of possibility? But the truth is, discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is its foundation. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies, and goals remain out of reach. It is through consistent effort, intentional choices, and the mastery of habits that you create the freedom to live on your own terms. We often admire people who seem effortlessly successful. Artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. But what we don't always see is the discipline behind their achievements. Waking up early to train. Practicing their craft when no one's watching. Saying no to distractions. Sticking to a routine long before results show up. Their freedom, the ability to do what they love, live how they choose, and make an impact, was earned through discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and action. It is the muscle that moves you from wanting to doing. And like any muscle, it grows with use. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. Your old habits will tempt you. But with each small act of self-control, whether it's choosing water over soda, focus over scrolling, or action over procrastination, you train yourself to prioritize long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. Real discipline doesn't come from punishment or pressure. It comes from purpose. When you have a clear why, discipline becomes devotion. You are no longer forcing yourself. You are aligning yourself. This is why knowing your purpose, as discussed in Chapter 4, is essential. Without purpose, discipline feels like drudgery. With purpose, it feels like empowerment. Time is one of the clearest areas where discipline creates freedom. When you discipline how you spend your hours, setting boundaries, avoiding distractions, creating routines, you gain more control over your life. You have time to build, to rest, to grow, to enjoy. But when you let time control you, through endless scrolling, late starts, unplanned days, you become a prisoner to your own lack of structure. Discipline also creates emotional freedom. By developing routines and healthy habits, you reduce anxiety, build self-trust, and improve mental clarity. You no longer feel at the mercy of moods or impulses. You become more grounded, centered, and capable of navigating challenges with calm. Self-discipline brings inner peace, because you know that your life is not being dictated by chaos, but by choice. One of the myths about discipline is that it means doing everything perfectly all the time. That's not true. Discipline is not rigidity. It is consistency. It is not about never missing a day. It's about returning after you fall. It's about forgiving yourself quickly and getting back on track. The goal is not perfection, it's persistence. To build discipline, start with small, clear commitments. Wake up 15 minutes earlier, write 100 words a day, exercise 3 times a week. Whatever the habit, keep it simple and track your progress. Celebrate the small wins. Momentum builds through repetition. And every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you strengthen your self-respect and deepen your belief that you are capable of more. Accountability helps too. Share your goals with someone who will encourage and challenge you. Use tools like habit trackers, alarms, or journals. Remove temptations that pull you off course. Design your environment to support your discipline, not sabotage it. Discipline is not just about willpower, it's about systems that make success easier and setbacks less likely. Ultimately, discipline is love in action. It is the love of your future self over the comfort of the present. It is saying yes to the life you deserve, even if it means saying no to distractions, excuses, and delay. Discipline equals freedom because it liberates you from regret, chaos, and dependence. It gives you the structure to grow and the strength to soar. Choose discipline. Build it, refine it, protect it. And in doing so, you'll discover the truest kind of freedom. The freedom to become all that you are meant to be. Chapter 8. Vision into Reality. Every great achievement in history began as a vision, a spark in the mind, a dream seen clearly in the heart before it ever existed in the world. Vision is where all creation starts. It is the internal blueprint that guides your steps, fuels your passion, and aligns your actions. Without vision, even the most talented individuals remain scattered. But with vision, even the most ordinary person can build something extraordinary. Vision is not the same as a wish. A wish is passive. A vision is active. It pulls you forward. It shows you what's possible, not just in theory, but in detail. It gives you a destination so that your journey has direction. The power of vision is not just in dreaming big, it's in dreaming clearly. Vague dreams create vague results. Clear vision creates focused action. To turn vision into reality, you must first define it. What does the life you want truly look like? Don't just say you want success or happiness. Get specific. What does your ideal day look like? Where are you living? Who are you with? What kind of work are you doing? What impact are you making? Close your eyes and visualize it with vivid clarity. Your brain responds to mental imagery almost as powerfully as real experiences. The clearer your vision, the more real it becomes. Once you have a clear picture, write it down. Putting your vision into words turns it from imagination into intention. It creates a reference point, a personal compass you can return to when life gets noisy or uncertain. This written vision becomes your guiding star. It reminds you why you started, and it gives meaning to the steps, even the small ones, you take along the way. But vision alone is not enough. You must back it with belief. You have to trust that what you see inside is possible to create outside. Doubt will arise. Resistance will whisper that you're not ready or worthy. But the truth is, the moment you saw the vision, you became responsible for it. You saw it for a reason, because it's part of who you are meant to become. Now comes the most important part: aligned action. A vision without action is a fantasy. But action without vision is just motion. When you combine the two, you gain momentum. Start by breaking your vision into goals, clear, measurable, time-bound targets that guide your daily behavior. Then, build habits around those goals. Every morning routine, every focused work session, every hour of learning becomes a brick in the foundation of your vision. You will face setbacks. You will question your progress. But every visionary faces doubt before the breakthrough. The key is to stay committed to the vision, even when the process feels slow. Think of a sculptor chipping away at stone. Every strike may seem small, but over time, the form begins to emerge. Your consistent, focused actions will shape your future with the same invisible power. Share your vision with people who support it. Speak it aloud. Surround yourself with those who believe in growth and possibility. Protect your dream from the noise of the doubters and the distractions of the world. Not everyone will understand your vision, but it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. And as you work toward it, remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. Your vision will evolve as you evolve. It will refine itself as you gain experience. That's not failure. That's alignment. What matters is that you stay in motion, stay awake to the call within, and trust that the universe conspires with those who dare to act on their dreams. You already have the power to create. You have imagination, will, and the ability to take one step after another. That's all you need. Envision boldly. Believe deeply. Act daily. And watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the inner world you once saw only in your mind becomes the reality you now call life. Chapter 9. Overcoming Resistance. Resistance is the silent enemy of progress. It hides behind excuses, disguises itself as perfectionism, and whispers seductive lies like, "You're not ready," "Do it tomorrow," or "Maybe you're not good enough." It doesn't show up in the form of external threats. It rises from within. It is the invisible force that keeps you from starting, from finishing, and from becoming the person you are meant to be. If you want to step into your power, you must first learn to recognize resistance, and then rise above it. Every time you move toward something meaningful, whether it's starting a new project, writing your story, speaking your truth, or changing your life, resistance will show up. It doesn't appear when you're doing something easy or mindless. It only appears when you're on the edge of growth. This is important to understand. Resistance is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something matters. Often, we think we need more time, more clarity, or more confidence before we begin. But that's resistance in disguise. The truth is, clarity comes through action, not before it. Confidence is built during the journey, not at the starting line. You don't overcome resistance by thinking your way around it. You overcome it by acting in spite of it. Start small. Resistance feeds on overwhelm. When a task feels too big, it paralyzes you. Break it down. Focus on just the next step, the first sentence, the first rep, the first phone call. Action shrinks fear. Movement disrupts inertia. The moment you take a step, no matter how small, you've already begun to win the battle. Another common disguise resistance wears is perfectionism. The idea that you need to get it right the first time keeps many people stuck in the preparation phase forever. But excellence is not born in the first attempt. It's shaped through iteration. Allow yourself to create poorly at first. Allow room for error, for awkwardness, for learning. Progress is always messy before it's magnificent. Resistance also thrives in isolation. When you're alone with your doubts, they echo louder. That's why it's essential to build an environment that supports your progress. Surround yourself with people who are also in motion, people who are building, trying, failing, and showing up anyway. Community creates momentum. Accountability breaks the illusion of someday and brings your dreams into the present. Your inner critic is resistance's closest ally. It says you're not talented enough, that others are better, that you'll be judged. But that voice is not truth. It is fear wearing a mask. Talk back to it. Reframe the narrative. When your mind says, "Who are you to do this?" reply, "Who am I not to?" When it says, "You're not ready," say, "I'm ready enough to begin." Sometimes resistance takes the form of self-sabotage. Just when things start going well, you find ways to delay, distract, or even destroy your progress. This often stems from a deep-seated fear of success or change. We say we want transformation, but deep down, we're afraid of what life will look like on the other side. Will we still belong? Will people still accept us? The answer is, you will belong to something greater. You will belong to yourself. To overcome resistance is to reclaim your agency. It's the moment you stop waiting and start moving. It's when you decide that discomfort is worth it, that growth is greater than fear, and that the life you envision is more important than the comfort you cling to. Resistance will never disappear completely, but you will get stronger. You'll learn its patterns, anticipate its tricks, and develop the courage to keep moving anyway. Over time, what once felt paralyzing will become powerless. This chapter is your invitation to begin. Not perfectly, not later, now. Because the world doesn't need more potential. It needs more people willing to push past resistance and do the work. Be one of them. Show up. Push through. Rise. Chapter 10. The Strength of Self-Talk. The most important conversation you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Long before anyone else's words reach you, your own voice has already spoken. And the truth is, you are always listening. The way you speak to yourself becomes the script you follow, the reality you live, and the identity you reinforce. Self-talk has the power to build your world, or break it. Mastering this internal dialogue is one of the most essential steps in unlocking your full potential. We all have a voice in our heads. Sometimes it encourages. Sometimes it criticizes. Sometimes it keeps us safe. Sometimes it holds us back. What makes the difference isn't whether the voice is there, it always is, but whether that voice is serving you or sabotaging you. The strength of self-talk lies in your ability to choose which voice you listen to, and more importantly, which voice you amplify. Negative self-talk often disguises itself as realism. I'm just being honest with myself, we say. But honesty without compassion becomes cruelty. Telling yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, or that you always mess things up is not truth, it's programming. Most of these thoughts didn't originate from you. They were planted by past experiences, other people's opinions, or cultural conditioning. But what was planted by others can be uprooted by you. To change your life, you must begin by changing your internal language. Notice the words you use when you talk to yourself. Are they filled with judgment or understanding? With fear or faith? For every harsh thought, ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? If not, why say it to yourself? You deserve the same kindness, patience, and encouragement you give to others. Positive self-talk is not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about speaking to yourself with hope, strength, and belief even in the face of adversity. When you say, I can figure this out, you open a door. When you say, this is hard, but I've survived worse, you build resilience. When you say, I'm learning, instead of, I failed, you reinforce growth. The words you choose create the mindset you carry. One powerful technique to strengthen your self-talk is the use of affirmations. These are positive, present-tense statements that reflect the reality you want to embody. Say them out loud, write them down, repeat them daily. Even if they feel awkward at first, even if your mind resists, keep going. Over time, repetition becomes belief, and belief becomes behavior. Another tool is journaling. Write down the negative thoughts you notice and challenge them with truth. Ask yourself, is this really true? Is there another way to see this? What would my higher self say in this moment? By becoming aware of your mental patterns, you begin to disrupt them. And with disruption comes transformation. Visualization also enhances the power of self-talk. Close your eyes and see yourself succeeding. Hear yourself speaking confidently, handling pressure, showing up with grace. The mind doesn't distinguish much between real and imagined experiences. When you pair empowering self-talk with vivid mental imagery, you begin to rewire your subconscious. Surrounding yourself with positive influences further strengthens your inner dialogue. The books you read, the people you listen to, the content you consume, all of it affects your mental environment. Choose voices that remind you of your strength, your potential, and your worth. Make your inner world a place of support, not struggle. Remember, the way you talk to yourself is either watering your future or drowning it. Your words are seeds. Plant wisely. Speak to yourself as a leader, as a friend, as someone who deserves love and greatness. You do. And when the inner voice aligns with your highest self, there is no obstacle too great, no dream too distant, and no setback too final. Speak with strength. Think with intention. Rise with your words. Chapter 11. The Warrior Within. There is a part of you that does not flinch in the face of fear, that refuses to stay down after failure, that stands tall even when life tries to break you. This part of you is not born of ease, but of struggle. It has grown stronger with every hardship you've endured, every storm you've walked through, and every setback you've survived. This part is your inner warrior, and it lives in every person, not just those who wear armor on the outside, but especially in those who carry strength in silence. We often think of warriors as fearless, but the truth is, real warriors feel fear just like anyone else. The difference is, they don't let fear decide their fate. The warrior within you isn't defined by the absence of fear, but by the decision to move forward anyway. Courage isn't loud, it's steady. It's the quiet conviction that no matter how hard things get, you will not give up on yourself. Life will test you. There will be days when nothing makes sense, when everything seems stacked against you, and when quitting feels easier than continuing. But the warrior within does not quit. It adapts. It adjusts. It grits its teeth and finds another way. It knows that pain is temporary, but regret can last a lifetime. It understands that what matters most is not how many times you fall, but how many times you rise. Strength is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. The warrior within you is built through resilience. Resilience doesn't mean you don't hurt. It means you don't surrender to the hurt. It means you keep showing up even when you feel broken. And over time, those moments of perseverance become proof that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. To awaken your inner warrior, begin by embracing your scars. Every wound has a story. Every challenge has a lesson. Stop hiding the parts of your past that made you stronger. Instead, own them. Your pain is not your weakness, it's your forge. It has shaped your empathy, your insight, your tenacity. Warriors are not born in comfort, they are born in fire. Mental toughness is another trait of the warrior within. It's the ability to control your thoughts, especially when chaos surrounds you. It means staying focused on what you can do rather than being paralyzed by what you can't. It means choosing discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, and growth over ease. Your mind is your weapon. Keep it sharp. Emotional mastery is also key. A true warrior doesn't numb emotions. They feel them fully, but they do not let them control their actions. When anger arises, they channel it. When sorrow surfaces, they sit with it. When joy appears, they embrace it. Emotional strength is not about being stoic, it's about being real without being ruled. The warrior within also carries a deep sense of honor. They live by principles. Integrity matters. Discipline matters. Compassion matters. Their strength is not used to dominate others, but to uplift, protect, and serve. A warrior leads not only with power, but with heart. They do not seek external validation. because their sense of self comes from within. To live as a warrior is to commit to the path of continuous evolution. It is to accept that every day will present a new battle, sometimes small, sometimes immense, and to meet each one with unwavering spirit. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll question your worth. But the warrior within will whisper, "Keep going," and that whisper will become your anthem. You don't have to look like a warrior to be one. You just have to keep showing up, keep believing, keep fighting for the life you know you're meant to live. The warrior within you is ready, not for a life without struggle, but for a life where struggle reveals your strength. Let it rise. Let it lead. Let it remind you, you are unbreakable. Chapter 12. Unleashing Creativity. Creativity is not just for artists, writers, or musicians. It is a birthright of every human being, a divine spark waiting to be expressed in unique ways. Creativity is how we solve problems, design our lives, bring beauty into the world, and express our truth. Yet somewhere along the way, many people forget they are creative. They begin to believe that creativity belongs to a select few, and they silence their imagination out of fear of judgment or failure. But the truth is, creativity lives within you. It always has. And when you unleash it, you unlock a new dimension of your power. Creativity is not about being perfect. It's about being free. Free to explore. Free to imagine. Free to make something that has never existed before. It doesn't matter if your creation is messy, strange, or unfinished. What matters is that it's yours. The act of creating, of bringing something into existence that came from your mind and heart, is one of the most powerful expressions of life. We are all born creative. Just look at children. They dance without music, draw without fear, and invent entire worlds out of thin air. They don't worry about what others think. They create because it brings them joy. But as we grow older, we start to judge ourselves. We compare our creativity to others. We worry that we're not good enough. Slowly, we stop creating. Not because we lack ability, but because we stop allowing ourselves the permission to try. To unleash your creativity, you must return to that childlike wonder. Start by giving yourself permission to create badly. That's right. Remove the pressure to make something brilliant and just make something real. Write a poem that doesn't rhyme. Paint with your fingers. Build something out of scraps. Sing out of tune. Creativity thrives when it's unchained from the need to impress. The process is more important than the product. The act of creating is healing, energizing, and clarifying. It allows you to connect with parts of yourself that words cannot reach. It clears mental clutter and often reveals answers to problems you didn't know you had. When you are stuck in life, creativity can be the breakthrough you're searching for. It's not just play, it's transformation. Don't wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. Inspiration often comes after you begin. Set a time, sit down, and start. Creativity is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The more you show up for it, the more it shows up for you. Even 10 minutes of free writing, sketching, or brainstorming each day can awaken powerful creative forces inside you. Silence the inner critic. That voice that says, "This is stupid," or "You're wasting time," is not your truth. It's fear trying to protect you from discomfort. But discomfort is part of creation. Let the voice speak and then move forward anyway. Creativity is not about erasing fear. It's about dancing with it and still putting brush to canvas. Expand your inputs to fuel new ideas. Read outside your field. Watch documentaries. Walk in nature. Travel. Listen to new music. Meet people with different perspectives. Creativity is the art of connecting dots. And the more dots you collect, the more innovative and original your ideas become. Lastly, share your creativity with the world. Not for approval, but for connection. Someone out there needs your expression, your story, your vision. You may never know the full impact of what you create, but that doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Your creativity is not just for you, it's a gift meant to be given. In a world full of noise and repetition, your authentic creativity is revolutionary. It sets you apart. It sets you free. So pick up the pen, the brush, the camera, the tool. Start where you are. Make something that only you can make. The world is waiting for your light, and it shines brightest when you create without fear. Chapter 13. Silence the Noise. In today's world, silence has become a luxury. We live in an age of constant stimulation. Notifications, messages, breaking news, endless scrolling, and relentless demands. The noise isn't just external. It invades our minds, clutters our thoughts, and overwhelms our senses. Amidst all of it, we often lose touch with ourselves. We can no longer hear our own voice through the crowd of others. But within you is a quiet power, a calm center that holds the answers you seek. To access it, you must learn to silence the noise. Noise is not only what you hear, it's what distracts you, scatters your focus, and pulls you away from your truth. It can come from people, screens, expectations, or even your own thoughts. The danger of too much noise is not just stress or fatigue, it's disconnection. You begin to live reactively instead of intentionally. You chase things you don't truly want. You mistake movement for progress and busyness for purpose. To silence the noise is not to escape reality, it is to return to it. It's choosing presence over distraction, depth over surface, essence over appearance. It's the decision to pause, to unplug, to retreat inward, not as a withdrawal from life, but as a reconnection to it. The first step is to create space, space to breathe, space to think, space to simply be. This might mean starting your day in silence, before the phone, the emails, the world. Even 10 minutes of quiet reflection can shift your entire state of mind. You don't need a mountain retreat. You just need a moment of stillness. Sit in the quiet. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, how am I really? Let your inner voice rise above the external noise. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for silencing mental noise. It teaches you to observe your thoughts without getting lost in them. Over time, you learn to detach from the mental chatter and return to the present. You realize that most of what your mind says is just noise, repeating patterns, imagined fears, unresolved stories. And in that realization, peace begins to surface. Another form of noise comes from comparison. Social media, for all its benefits, amplifies this. We see curated snapshots of others' lives and measure ourselves against them. This creates mental static, feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, and false urgency. The truth is, you're not falling behind. You're not doing it wrong. You're just hearing too many voices that don't belong to your path. Unfollow what distracts you. Follow what nourishes you. Your environment also affects the volume of your life. Cluttered spaces create cluttered minds. Take time to simplify. Organize your surroundings. Remove what doesn't serve your focus or joy. Sometimes silencing the noise starts with cleaning your room, turning off background music, or stepping away from the screen. Silence can be as physical as it is mental. You also silence the noise by setting boundaries. Learn to say no to commitments that drain you, to conversations that deplete you, to people who constantly bring drama. Protect your energy as a sacred resource. Not everyone deserves your attention. Not everything requires your response. And most importantly, listen. When the noise fades, your intuition speaks. That quiet inner knowing that gently guides you. It's always been there. It's just hard to hear in the chaos. But when you create space, its voice grows clearer. It will tell you what you need, where to go, who to trust, what to release. All the answers you seek are already within you. You just have to make room to hear them. In the silence, there is wisdom. In the stillness, there is power. In the quiet, you reconnect with your truth. Don't fear the silence. Embrace it. Because when you silence the noise, you awaken the signal, the call of your highest self. And in that moment of clarity, you don't just hear the truth, you become it. Chapter 14: The Power of Now. The only moment you truly have is the one you're in. Not yesterday, which is already gone. Not tomorrow, which is yet to come. The present moment, now, is where your life unfolds. It's where decisions are made, where change is possible, and where peace resides. Yet most people spend their lives trapped in time, haunted by the past or anxious about the future, missing the richness of the present. To unlock the power within, you must awaken to the power of now. We often postpone happiness. We tell ourselves we'll be fulfilled when we get the job, when we lose the weight, when we find the relationship, when we finally reach our goals. But in doing so, we place our joy on hold and rob ourselves of the beauty already present. The truth is, now is all there is. Life doesn't begin later. It's happening right here, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this choice. The mind is a time traveler. It replays old memories and imagines future scenarios. While reflection and planning are useful, living in the past or future drains your energy and fogs your clarity. The past cannot be changed, and the future is shaped by what you do now. Regret and worry are illusions that steal your peace. They make you feel powerless, when in fact you are most powerful now, in this very second. When you fully inhabit the present, something profound happens. Time slows down. Colors seem brighter. Conversations become deeper. Food tastes richer. You notice things you would have missed before. Presence sharpens your senses and awakens your soul. It's the difference between watching your life from the sidelines and actually playing the game with your whole heart. Being present doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities or living recklessly. It means being aware of what's in front of you. It means giving your full attention to the task, the person, the moment at hand. Whether you're washing dishes, writing a book, or talking with a friend, when you're fully present, even the ordinary becomes sacred. The practice of mindfulness helps you return to now. You don't have to sit cross-legged in silence to be mindful, though meditation helps. You can bring mindfulness into anything you do, by slowing down, by breathing deeply, by noticing your surroundings, and by gently redirecting your focus when your mind wanders. The point isn't to stop your thoughts. It's to observe them and return, again and again, to this moment. One of the greatest barriers to presence is multitasking. We live in a culture that praises productivity, but true power lies in depth, not just speed. When you divide your attention between 5 things, you give none of them your best. But when you focus fully on one thing at a time, you bring quality, precision, and purpose to your actions. And from that, excellence emerges. Living in the now also deepens your relationships. When you truly listen, not to reply, but to understand, you create space for connection. When you look someone in the eyes and are fully with them, you offer a presence that heals, comforts, and inspires. Love flourishes in the now, not in a distracted mind. And perhaps most importantly, presence reduces suffering. Pain exists, but much of our suffering comes from resisting pain or reliving it. When you anchor yourself in the now, you deal with what is, not what was or might be. And from that place, strength arises. The present moment is your point of power. It's where habits are formed, decisions are made, and life is lived. Every time you return to now, you reclaim your energy, your joy, and your freedom. So pause, breathe. Feel your feet on the ground. Let go of what's behind you, Don't rush toward what's ahead. Be here. Be fully alive in this moment. Because this moment is all you truly have, and within it lies the power to transform everything. Chapter 15. Inner Leadership. True leadership doesn't begin with commanding others. It begins with leading yourself. Inner leadership is the art of taking full responsibility for your thoughts, choices, and direction in life. It's about living with intentionality, acting with integrity, and being guided by purpose rather than pressure. When you become the leader of your inner world, your outer world starts to reflect clarity, strength, and direction. You no longer wait for permission. You create your own path. Many people move through life like passengers, letting circumstances, emotions, and other people dictate their course. But leadership is not reactive. It's proactive. Inner leaders don't wait for the perfect conditions. They create momentum from within. They steer their life like a captain at sea, adjusting the sails, navigating storms, and always moving forward with purpose. The storms may come, but the anchor is internal. To lead yourself, you must first know yourself. Self-awareness is the foundation of inner leadership. It requires honesty, the willingness to confront your habits, beliefs, and fears without judgment. Ask yourself, what drives me? What patterns do I repeat? What do I avoid and why? The answers may not always be comfortable, but they are necessary. You cannot lead what you do not understand. Clarity of values is another pillar. What do you stand for? What are your non-negotiables? When you're grounded in your values, decisions become simpler. You no longer need to chase every opportunity or please every person. You operate from alignment, not approval. And that alignment creates strength, because even when it's hard, you know what matters most. Inner leadership also demands discipline. You cannot rise by following every impulse. A true leader sets standards for themselves. They get up when it's hard. They finish what they start. They make sacrifices for their future self. This discipline is not about rigid control. It's about self-respect. It's saying, my goals matter. My time matters. I matter. Accountability is another trait of the inner leader. It's easy to blame others when things go wrong, to point fingers at the economy, your upbringing, or the people around you. But the leader within takes full ownership. Even when circumstances are tough, they ask, what can I do? What is within my control? This mindset turns obstacles into opportunities. It shifts your focus from victimhood to empowerment. A powerful inner leader is also deeply connected to their intuition. Logic and strategy have their place, but some of the most important decisions in life require listening to that quiet inner voice. The voice that knows what's right before you can explain why. The more you practice presence, as we explored in Chapter 14, the louder that voice becomes. It becomes your internal compass, guiding you toward authenticity. Leading yourself also means leading your emotions, not suppressing them, but managing them. Emotional mastery allows you to respond instead of react. It helps you stay grounded when others are losing control, to stay kind when it's easier to lash out, and to stay focused when distractions tempt you. A true inner leader creates harmony within and brings that energy into every room they enter. Service is the final hallmark of real leadership. When you lead yourself well, you naturally become a light for others. Your example becomes your influence. You don't need to force or preach, you inspire by being. Inner leaders uplift those around them, not through dominance, but through presence, authenticity, and courage. The journey of inner leadership is lifelong. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Some days you'll fall, some days you'll doubt. But each time you choose to rise, to reflect, and to realign, you grow stronger. You don't need a title to be a leader. You need a decision, to stop waiting and start owning your life. The world is full of noise and distraction. What it needs are more people who lead from within. Be one of them. Lead yourself first, and everything else will follow. Chapter 16. Aligning with integrity. Integrity is the alignment of your values, words, and actions. It is living in such a way that what you say matches what you do, and who you are in public mirrors who you are in private. It's not always the easiest path, but it is always the truest. When you live with integrity, you carry a sense of peace that no amount of success without authenticity can ever bring. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. In a world that often rewards shortcuts, surface-level appearances, and momentary wins, integrity asks something deeper of you. It asks for consistency, honesty, and courage. It means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It means keeping your promises, even the ones you make to yourself. And most of all, it means listening to that quiet inner voice that knows when something doesn't feel right, even if the world applauds it. There is immense power in alignment. When your actions reflect your core beliefs, there is no inner conflict. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to remember which version of yourself you showed to the world. You simply show up, fully and honestly. That authenticity creates trust, not only from others, but within yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Lack of integrity creates invisible fractures in your life. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you betray your own boundaries, every time you act in contradiction to your truth, you weaken your sense of self. It may not be obvious at first, but over time, it leads to resentment, confusion, and burnout. You begin to feel like a stranger in your own life. Living with integrity means you know who you are and what you stand for. You make decisions based not on what's popular, but on what's principled. You understand that success without alignment is hollow. That money, recognition, or comfort gained at the cost of your soul will never satisfy you. True fulfillment comes when your outer life reflects your inner truth. This doesn't mean life will always be easy. Integrity often requires sacrifice. It may mean walking away from relationships, opportunities, or environments that no longer align with your values. It may mean standing alone at times. But every time you choose integrity over ease, you grow stronger. You become someone you can respect. And that self-respect becomes your foundation, no matter what storms come your way. Integrity also shows up in how you treat others. Are you honest in your communication? Do you keep your word? Do you own your mistakes? Do you treat people with the same respect behind closed doors as you do in public? These choices define your character far more than your reputation ever will. But perhaps the most important part of integrity is how you treat yourself. Are you honoring your goals, your health, your boundaries, your purpose? Are you giving your best, not for applause, but because it aligns with who you want to be? Living with integrity means refusing to abandon yourself, even when it's hard. The good news is, you can realign at any moment. If you've drifted from your values, if you've broken promises to yourself, if you've lost clarity, it's not too late. Integrity is not a fixed state. It's a daily practice. It's built through small, consistent choices that move you closer to truth. It's choosing honesty over convenience, courage over comfort, and authenticity over approval. When you align with integrity, life becomes lighter. You no longer carry the weight of pretending. You walk taller, speak clearer, sleep deeper. You become someone others can rely on, but more importantly, someone you can rely on. And in a world filled with masks and noise, there is nothing more powerful than a person who chooses to live in truth. Let that be you. Let your life be the message. Let your integrity be your legacy. Chapter 17. Energy and Vitality. Energy is your most valuable currency. Without it, dreams remain dormant, focus fades, and even simple tasks feel overwhelming. But with abundant energy, you become unstoppable. Clearer in thought, stronger in action, and more resilient in the face of challenges. Vitality is not just about physical strength. It's about the alignment of body, mind, and spirit. It's the foundation that supports every other form of power you carry. To truly unlock the power within, you must learn to protect, generate, and channel your energy with intention. Many people underestimate the role energy plays in personal growth. They set goals, build plans, and chase ambitions, but ignore the engine that drives it all. You can have the best strategies in the world, but if your energy is low, your execution will suffer. Energy determines how you show up, how long you last, and how well you respond to life's demands. It's time to start treating it with the respect it deserves. The first source of energy is your body. Physical health isn't just about aesthetics, it's about access. Access to strength, stamina, and clarity. Your body is the vessel through which your potential is expressed. When you nourish it with real food, move it regularly, hydrate it, and give it adequate rest, you fuel every other area of your life. You don't need a perfect fitness routine or a rigid diet, just daily decisions that honor your health. Wake up with intention, stretch, breathe, move, eat mindfully. These small habits compound into lasting energy. Sleep is often the most overlooked pillar of vitality. In a world that glorifies hustle, sleep is seen as optional. But rest is not a weakness, it's a weapon. While you sleep, your body repairs, your brain consolidates memory, and your nervous system resets. Sacrificing sleep may buy you time in the short term, but it costs you presence, productivity, and peace in the long run. Prioritize rest as part of your success strategy. Mental energy is equally vital. What you focus on expands. When your mind is cluttered with worry, comparison, and negativity, your energy drains quickly. But when you practice mental discipline, through journaling, mindfulness, or even intentional breaks, you preserve your energy for what truly matters. Protect your peace by filtering what you allow into your mind. Not every opinion, problem, or notification deserves your attention. Emotional energy is another powerful force. Carrying unresolved emotions, anger, guilt, resentment, drains you silently. Emotional clutter is as real as physical clutter. Learn to release what no longer serves you. Talk it out. Cry if you must. Forgive. Let go. Healing frees up energy that you didn't even realize was trapped. And on the flip side, joy, laughter, gratitude, and connection generate energy. Seek experiences and relationships that nourish your heart. Then there's spiritual energy, your sense of purpose, connection, and meaning. You don't have to follow a religion to feel spiritually alive. You just need a reason to wake up beyond survival. When you live in alignment with your values and purpose, your energy becomes self-renewing. You stop needing constant external motivation because your spirit itself becomes the source. Moments of silence, reflection, and awe can recharge you more deeply than any nap or vacation. It's also important to understand energy management, not just time management. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alive? What activities drain me? Who energizes me? Who exhausts me? Align your schedule with your natural energy rhythms. Tackle your most important tasks when your energy is highest. Take intentional breaks. Say no more often, not to reject others, but to protect yourself. Vitality isn't about having boundless energy every second. It's about creating a system of renewal. It's about recognizing that your energy is sacred and your life reflects how well you protect it. So take care of your body, guard your mind, honor your emotions, feed your spirit. You are not just here to survive. You are here to thrive, with energy that moves mountains and a presence that lights up rooms. Own it, nurture it, and let your vitality be the fuel behind your purpose. Chapter 18. Building Unshakable Confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It's not loud, arrogant, or boastful. True confidence is quiet, grounded, and unshakable. It's the inner knowing that you are capable, worthy, and enough. Not because you've never failed, but because you've risen every time you did. To build unshakable confidence is to develop an unbreakable trust in yourself, even when the world doubts you, even when fear knocks, and even when the outcome is uncertain. Too often, people wait for confidence to arrive before they act. They think, once I feel confident, I'll speak up, show up, or take that leap. But the truth is, confidence doesn't precede action. It follows it. The only way to become confident is to do the very things that scare you. You build confidence not by staying safe, but by choosing courage in moments of uncertainty. Confidence begins with self-awareness. You must understand your strengths, acknowledge your growth areas, and accept your imperfections. It's not about pretending to be flawless. It's about embracing your humanity. When you stop hiding your flaws and start owning your story, you take back your power. Vulnerability is not the opposite of confidence. It's the foundation of it. One of the most important elements of confidence is self-talk. As explored in Chapter 10, the way you speak to yourself becomes the reality you live. If you constantly criticize yourself, you erode your self-belief. But when you affirm your progress, your courage, and your resilience, you begin to rewrite the narrative in your favor. Say to yourself, I am learning, I am growing, I am capable of figuring it out. These are not just words, they are mental seeds. Speak them consistently and watch them take root. Another key to building confidence is keeping promises to yourself. Every time you commit to something and follow through, whether it's waking up early, completing a project, or honoring a boundary, you reinforce the belief that you can trust yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of all confidence. On the other hand, when you constantly break your own promises, even in small ways, you chip away at your sense of worth. So start small. Set realistic goals. Show up for yourself daily. Let your actions build the evidence of your strength. Competence builds confidence. The more you practice, the more skilled you become. And the more skilled you become, the more confident you feel. Don't expect to feel confident on day one. Whether it's public speaking, starting a business, or learning a new skill, confidence grows with consistency. Celebrate the progress, not just the outcome. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step towards certainty. It's also crucial to surround yourself with confidence builders. Be around people who uplift you, who reflect your potential back to you, and who challenge you to rise higher. Distance yourself from constant critics and naysayers. While feedback can be helpful, some voices exist only to plant doubt. Protect your mental environment. Curate your circle. Let your support system fuel your belief. Understand that failure does not destroy confidence, quitting does. Every time you fail and get back up, you reinforce resilience. Every time you try again, you prove that setbacks are not the end, but part of the process. Confidence isn't the absence of failure, it's the refusal to be defined by it. Lastly, carry yourself with confidence before you feel it. Stand tall. Speak clearly. Make eye contact. The body informs the mind. When you embody confidence physically, your brain begins to follow. Act as the person you want to become, and soon, it won't feel like an act. It will feel like you. Building unshakable confidence is a daily choice. It's the accumulation of small wins, courageous decisions, and inner work. Don't wait for permission to believe in yourself. Give yourself that gift now. Because when your confidence comes from within, no criticism can shake it, and no failure can erase it. You are enough, and it's time you owned it. Chapter 19, Legacy Thinking. A powerful life is not measured only by success, fame, or wealth. It is measured by impact. What you build, how you love, the lessons you pass on, and the lives you touch long after you're gone, that is your legacy. Legacy thinking is the mindset of living with intention today while keeping the future in mind. It's about rising above temporary distractions and aligning your actions with the kind of imprint you want to leave on the world. Most people think of legacy as something to be dealt with in old age, or as something only great leaders or public figures leave behind. But the truth is, you're creating your legacy right now, every single day, in the way you live, work, speak, and show up. Your choices shape your character, your values shape your path, your presence shapes the memory others will carry of you. Legacy is not later, it's now. To think in terms of legacy is to live with depth. It shifts your focus from, how can I get through the day, to how can I live meaningfully today? It changes your perspective from, what do I want in the moment, to, what kind of life do I want to look back on? Legacy thinking challenges you to ask bigger questions. What truly matters to me? How do I want to be remembered? What difference do I want to make? Living with legacy in mind doesn't mean you need to build empires or become famous. Some of the most impactful legacies come from quiet acts of love, kindness, and courage. A teacher who believes in a struggling student. A parent who leads with compassion. A leader who lifts others up. A friend who listens deeply. These seemingly small moments create ripples that last far longer than we realize. You may never fully know the power of your presence, but someone will carry your words, your example, your spirit forward. Your legacy is also about the work you do. Whether you're an entrepreneur, artist, engineer, healer, or dreamer, the quality of your work becomes part of your contribution. When you create with care, lead with integrity, and pursue excellence, not for applause but because it reflects who you are, you build a reputation that endures. You elevate not only your craft, but everyone who witnesses your standard. One essential element of legacy thinking is consistency. Anyone can have a moment of inspiration, but those who leave lasting legacies are those who show up consistently, who embody their values day in and day out. This doesn't mean being perfect, it means being committed. Committed to growth. Committed to truth. Committed to service. Legacy also lives in the lessons you leave behind. What wisdom will you pass down? What principles will your life represent? What values will others associate with your name? These are the silent echoes of your life, the teachings that live on in others long after your voice has faded. And perhaps the most powerful legacy of all is how you made others feel. Did you uplift or belittle? Did you listen or dismiss? Did you see people, really see them, in their humanity? People may forget your words, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Love deeply. Forgive freely. Encourage generously. That is a legacy worth building. To begin legacy thinking, start small. Choose one area of your life today where you can lead with purpose. One interaction, one project, one choice. Make it intentional. Let it reflect the values you want to live by. Over time, these choices compound into something profound. Legacy is not something you chase, it's something you live. It's not about ego, it's about essence. And it's not about how long you live, it's about how you live. Live in a way that, when your name is spoken, people feel inspired, empowered, and better because they knew you. You are writing your legacy every day. Make it count. Make it real. Make it yours. Chapter 20. The Everlasting Flame. There is a fire within you, a flame that flickers through hardship, that glows in stillness, and that blazes when you are aligned with your purpose. This inner flame is your essence, your spirit, your passion, your truth. It is the unshakable part of you that no failure can extinguish, no fear can dim, and no external force can fully control. It is the everlasting flame, and it is the final chapter not because the journey ends here, but because it continues from here, brighter, bolder, and more powerful than ever. Throughout this journey, you've awakened the giant within, planted the seed of belief, broken barriers, and reclaimed your vision. You've built discipline, emotional strength, and confidence. You've begun aligning your life with purpose, integrity, energy, and impact. But now, the challenge is to sustain that flame, to keep the light burning, not just in moments of inspiration, but through the mundane, the uncertain, and the exhausting. The world will test your fire. There will be seasons where nothing makes sense, where progress feels invisible, where others doubt you, and where you may even doubt yourself. In those moments, you must return to your inner fire, not to seek answers outside, but to remember the power within. You've already proven that it exists. Now you must protect it. How do you keep the flame alive? You feed it. Feed it with purpose. Revisit your why often. Let it guide your decisions. Let it shape your days. Purpose is fuel. It transforms even the most repetitive tasks into meaningful steps forward. Feed it with gratitude. Gratitude is oxygen for the soul. It reminds you of what you have, what you've overcome, and what's still possible. When you feel burnt out, pause and give thanks. Not for perfection, but for progress. Not just for the wins, but for the strength to keep walking. Feed it with growth. Never stop learning. Never stop evolving. When you feel stagnant, don't wait. Stretch. Challenge your limits. Explore new ideas. Push your boundaries. The flame burns brightest in motion. Feed it with connection. No fire survives in isolation. Share your journey. Uplift others. Surround yourself with people who inspire you and remind you of your greatness when you forget. Protect your energy by protecting your circle. Feed it with faith. Faith that you are being shaped. That the detours are part of the design. That even when you cannot see the full path, your next step matters. Faith doesn't eliminate fear. It quiets it enough for you to move anyway. And perhaps most importantly, feed your flame with rest. Fire doesn't need to burn at full intensity all the time. It needs care, rejuvenation, silence. Moments of stillness aren't signs of weakness. They are part of the cycle. Let yourself rest without guilt, knowing that your return will be stronger. The everlasting flame is not about intensity. It's about endurance. It's about showing up again and again. It's about refusing to let the world dim your light. It's about rising, not for applause, but because you must, because your calling is louder than your comfort. Let this chapter be your reminder that you don't need to become someone new to be powerful. You simply need to remember who you already are. Every lesson, every struggle, every breakthrough has led you back to yourself, to this flame that has always been inside you. So go forth and live your truth. Speak it. Share it. Create from it. Lead with it. Let your life be a lighthouse in a world full of distractions and doubt. Let your fire light the way, for yourself and for others. The journey doesn't end here. In fact, it begins anew, with more clarity, more courage, and a deeper understanding of your limitless potential. Your flame is everlasting. Keep it burning. Let it rise. Let it shine. Let it lead.